I'm here with Riz, a 22-year-old hip-hop artist from right here in Ottawa. He's just released his newest mixtape, Boxing with God, in October. Riz, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. So just have a couple questions. Like, what first got you into hip-hop?
Well, one of my buddies in, I think it was middle school, he just came to school one day and he had a verse written. And I remember, like, just written it, and I was like, oh, this is nice. And then about 10 minutes later, I took the pad, and I was like, man, let me read this again. I was like, oh, man, this is really nice. And then all day in school, I just kept taking it, and I was just hooked from then on. But even before then, I'd never really listened to hip-hop much. I grew up in Africa, so I grew up listening to, like, African songs, and that just, like, changed everything.
And when was that? Like, what age around was that?
I was like 15.
So you've been doing it since you were 15, and I heard that you started in spoken word poetry more or less. What was that like?
Yeah, so when I started rapping, most people start off rapping freestyling. I started off like on an online forum where I'd go write my verse, and then people would actually critic it, like grammatically. It's just something you don't really get critic for in rap, grammatically, just verbal, vocabulary, and stuff like that. So it was really more spoken word. I wasn't writing over instrumentals or rapping over like beats or anything. And I did that for like 2 years before I eventually progressed to audio and recording.
And when did you know that hip-hop was something you wanted to take seriously?
Honestly, like taking it seriously, probably I started like a couple of months ago. I think when I finished recording Boxing with God and I listened to that first song and I was like, man, like, okay, this is like, I'm pretty good at this. And I don't want a 9 to 5 like for the rest of my life. Like, I want to be my own man. I want to be doing what I love and like enjoy it. So, and this is what I love doing. So I'd say this year.
And what's the process of making like a mixtape? You're a student too. Is it really hard to find a balance when you're doing stuff like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. So Boxing with God was like a 2-year process. I had the general idea down. Like I'm a concept album musician, I guess. Like I always have a bigger picture in mind, and I start putting the pieces together. So I knew the name. I knew what the artwork was going to be 2 years ago. I knew all the beats, and then it was just finding the right setup for my budget, I guess, something I could afford, and just finding the time. So when I actually finally found the place, it was supposed to be I was supposed to record it in a week, and end up being a 5-month process just because of school and work, and I was also president of my fraternity, so there was that. I was pretty swamped. So yeah, it gets like I can't wait to like be doing this full time and actually have like time to invest in just music and not worry about anything else. Yeah.
So what's the songwriting process like for you?
When I come up with ideas, it could be like a spur of the moment thing. Like I could be walking, see something, and just jot it down. But I actually do set time aside to write, and I just sit down. I play the beat, write one line, recite that line to the beat, make sure every syllable, every like stanza in that line matches the way I want it to match in the beat. And I'd write the second line, and I recite the first line and the second line, just make sure it all like flows together. So usually it would take me like anywhere from like a day to like a week, 2 weeks just to write one verse. And like sometimes I'd write a verse. I could write a verse today and not do the second verse for like another year, just because like that inspiration for that like subject matter doesn't come. So it's really random. But.
So you seem to you put a lot of effort into your lyrics and what you write. Do you have a song that's most like important to you that you've written or anything like that?
Song is simple. Yeah, there's this song I wrote. I had a mixtape before Boxing with God called Road to North Bay. On that I had a song called Bint Hilwa, which is Arabic for beautiful girl. And I wrote that like kind of like a description of what my ideal girl would be, and it's kind of funny that like what I wrote, the girl I'm seeing now actually like fits that mold. Or, like it's just funny how things like worked out. So I really love that song, and I was like, it feels like I wrote this about you, like even before I met you, you know. So it's very important to me, that song. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's a great story. So I heard you're working on a new project. Can you tell me a bit about that?
So I just started working on my official like debut EP. It's called Free.92. Well, I have to like describe it. So it's a Free.92, and then the dot is the words EST, like established. So I was born in '92, so it's basically saying I've been free since '92. And if you listen to rapping, Kendrick Lamar, like his first like debut like EP or mixtape was Section 80, and like it was meant for a lot of '80s kids that were born in the '80s to be able to relate to it, and it's kind of what I want for my upcoming EP. I want it to do for like '90s kids what Section 80 did for '80s kids, and just for them to be able to relate to like every song on it. It's gonna be a lot about just like being free, being grown, like knowing what you're doing, figuring life out, figuring love out as well. Yeah, there's gonna be a whole theme of just being free and like being your own person around the whole thing.
So you mentioned Kendrick Lamar, and he's got, with Good Kid, Mad City, he's got one of the best like concept albums ever.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite rappers just because he's a concept rapper. He always has the big idea in mind, and then just makes the songs and fits it to it. Another one's Kid Cudi, the same thing. It's always a concept to it, never anything like, it's just not like a bunch of singles or a bunch of loose songs just put together, throw a name on it. It's like it's a plan. There's a plan to it. There's a direction. I love that.
Do you have any other like main influences to your sound? Like you said, Kendrick Lamar and Kid Cudi. Are there any others that you really like?
Yeah. Kendrick Lamar was only recently. Throughout my whole like, for as long as I've been writing, Nas is my favorite rapper. He's like my name Riz originally. Like his name is Nasser, and took Nas from Nasser. My name is Idris, and I took Riz from Idris, and so like he kind of influenced my original name. Kid Cudi, Lauryn Hill. She's a great singer, great wordsmith. Like not even just a great rapper, just a great wordsmith in general. She's influenced a lot of my stuff, and yeah, just throughout the span of like how long I've been rapping, those are three people I'd say that have influenced me the most: Nas, Kid Cudi, and Lauryn Hill. Kendrick Lamar more recently, like Chance the Rapper, Isaiah Rashad. Obviously, like the music that's coming up now influences like what I'm doing, because like I do think I'm a student of the game, and it works.
So how do you feel about like the mainstream hip hop and rap scene today?
We had a like rough couple of years, I feel like, in 2000s, but like I really think like hip hop right now is at its best. Like it's the best it's been since like the 90s. Like for a while it seemed like you just, as a rapper, who had the best chain, who was making the most money, but now it's actually like who's writing the best lyrics, who's crafting the best like work. Even when like rappers like me that in the past we'd come up just by recording like just loose verses over mixtapes. Now like before you can even blow up, you have to like show that you can craft a full body of work. Like you're not just a rapper, you're an artist. So I like that, like the art part, and just like it's good. Like lyrics are starting to matter again. Beat selection is starting to matter. You can't just like blow up just like off one song. You actually like you have to be able to craft a full body of work. So it's interesting. Like it kind of like fits with what I've been doing for the past like 3-4 years just on my own as a hobby, and it's why it's like I should probably take this seriously now, because like what I'm doing right now is like fits with what's happening.
So what's it like for you to perform on stage? Is that a real kick for you?
I've actually only ever performed the stage once, and I just did a verse in a song in like a group like performance thing. It was fun. You realize that like regardless of how big you are or how like small you are like as an artist, once you get on that stage and there's a crowd, they're all watching you. Or like you can be like Kanye or like just like a no-name person, but like they're all watching you. It's an amazing feeling, just commanding all that attention. I love it. Like, and I haven't even had much experience. Like, I can't wait to start like doing it more often. Like, I also love presentation, and I kind of like feel like being a marketing student. So I feel like it kind of be like presentations. I love just being in front of a crowd and just like preparing for something and like just killing it up there on the stage when the time matters. So I'm pumped.
And as like a marketing student, does your like student and like hip hop life ever intersect or anything like that?
Yeah. So I was a finance student when up until my third year, and I started like when I started working on Boxing with God, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, but what I'm studying doesn't do anything for what I want to do. Really, yeah, it can teach me how to manage my finances, but like I can learn that. So I went into marketing and entrepreneurship, so I could like kind of brand myself, learn how to brand myself. So everything I've learned in my marketing classes and my courseworks, all the practical stuff, I've started applying it to my music or just my brand in general, like creating logos, website building, like email newsletters, stuff like that, just the little things, and it's sick. And then now that I'm like a class away from getting my marketing degree in December, and then now I'm learning more entrepreneurship stuff, how to like actually manage the business side of it, and because like nowadays you don't everyone's going indie, everyone's doing it themselves, so you need to like know how to like manage yourself as a business. And also like eventually like I want to open up 20, 30 years from now. Like I do want to open up like a marketing agency just for talent. So it'd be nice to like learn how to like run a business too and enterprise yourself now and then apply that in the future.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge business aspect to the hip hop scene now. Like you can't just be a rapper anymore, basically.
Labels, you don't. The thing is, like, people are starting to learn that, like, when you sign with labels, that like, there's a lot more negatives than positives, like in the long run. So doing it by yourself independently is the way to go. And to do that, you need to learn how to like network, how to be a businessman. You can't just be an artist anymore. So it's good though.
And you said you were the president of your frat. You're not the president anymore, right? But did that have any like intersection with your hip hop life too?
A little bit. It gave me more of a networking opportunity, a way to meet more people. It gave me a little bit more of a subject matter as well. I feel like just being involved in the frat life, like it's a lot. It's an experience that not a lot of people get to have. Like not a lot of people in the world. Like it's not just like a thing that anyone could like kind of walk into. So like I think like it gives me a unique experience that like I applied it a little bit to like maple syrup. Like it's kind of like a frat rap song. That's what maple syrup kind of is, or that's what I wanted it to be. But like going on, like you go in the future, you will see like more of an influence from the frat. But like it's just I try to take it from like all walks of life and put it towards my song. So this is like another walk of life that like I can build off, you know.
And being in Ottawa and like the Canadian hip hop scene, it's a lot smaller than it is in the States. Do you have a lot of opportunities out here? Or
Not in the past, but actually Ottawa or just Canada's hip hop scene is rising pretty fast right now. Like it's crazy. Like I saw an article the other day where like a rapper in the States was scared that like the States is gonna lose that like title as like the mecca of hip hop to Canada, and like shout out to like what Drake is doing and all that. But with that also Ottawa, like I noticed Ottawa's hip hop scene is also growing. I've met a lot of like young rappers that I've not met, and like I haven't met in the last like 4 years. I've met them in the last couple of months, and like I guess that comes from me myself, like just immersing like myself into that culture. And because I'd never done that, I just make music on my own time. But now I'm like actually like taking it seriously, so I meet people. So yeah, the opportunity is always there if you go looking for it. And like this is an opportunity that like I just took, and so you know, just got to know where to look.
Yeah, exactly. So before we sign off, do you have any shout outs or anything you want to give out?
Yeah, sure. So if anyone notices my t-shirt, it's pretty similar to the artwork for Boxing with God. That's my latest mixtape. It came out October 10. It's a concept mixtape. It's on Risession.com. That's Risession. It's also on SoundCloud. Giving shout outs. I have a lot of friends that I make music with. My buddy Manny, my buddy Joey, my buddy Lee, whose artist name is Calderel. He's the only other feature on Boxing with God. He also released a mixtape earlier in the year. And just I don't know, everyone that's like been listening to my music. Maple Syrup just clocked in at 1,000 plays officially, so that's pretty big for me. That just happened this morning actually, so like it's pretty surreal. My last project, like I think which is 2 years ago, the songs are still at like 400 plays. So it's crazy to release a project like a month ago and get one song to 1,000 plays in a month. So that's sick. So everyone who's been listening, sharing. I haven't really had time to like shout out people individually on like Facebook and stuff. So like I guess I'll use this as an opportunity. Just much love to everyone else that's like pursuing music in Ottawa as well. My buddy Baudry as well. He's probably gonna be on here soon. You know, much love to him too. And yeah, just Ottawa in general. Like I've been here 4 or 5 years, and like I've settled in so quick, and like I want to stay here for a long time. So yeah, shout out to you guys for having me too.
All right, cool. All right, so that's Matt Houston for Glue Magazine.
I'm Frank White, I'm the king of NY. I'm not someone to hang dry. As I grace the skies like the buildings of Shanghai, watching out for this men of different shades like tan lines. Trying to differentiate the fine line between a dog and a snake. I'll take the love and the hate, cause the subject's the same. No, we all gon' die, why try dodging my fate? Last thing I'll be remembered for is the words I say. Yelling every sentiment with the mic in my hands. You could tell I'm in my element. On the instrumental, I'm oozing mental brilliance resided in rhythm through my dentals. You too simple. My mind hovers around the borders of sound and vanity. I'm a walking paradox like a small world. Do you know how big our planet is? Now answer this. Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. It only took the song a minute. From the rapper's Nas's monkey flipping. Rest of that composition plus that funky rhythm sparked something within. So prismatic, illmatic, gave birth to a little addict. He's in why state of mind, help make up mine. Must have been 8 or 9. My fate aligned with the dates of time. Collated lines, the bro said we're dimes. My flow rates had the flow rate of wine. Cool like a fair summer breeze. I speak from the soul, let it put yours at ease. It'll only take a minute, but play till the finish. What's engraved within it will leave you lifted. The image is vivid, bright as lights on the day of Christmas. And it's brighter if you're lifted. The content's unexplicit, no censor deleted me and it connected spirit since 92 when we bonded in a minute. And I'm in it. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? I can fit the world on the page like an atlas. Whose world is this? You got your answer. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? Kids sing. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? Everybody.